because there are so many private rights and aspects involved in a country, in any country, where its government gets militarily overthrown by another government or the troops of another government. So they were supposed to have done that in 1893, January 17th, according to their rules and international rules, right? But they didn't. They used the insurgents to stay in power that they put in place. Because what was in the minds of people in Congress was Pearl Harbor. And they were buying time, right? Which eventually led to 1898, the United States Congress passes a law during the Spanish-American War purporting to have annexed Hawaii, right? Called a Joint Resolution of Annexation. So a joint resolution is a law that is agreed upon jointly between the Senate and the House of Representatives. And then President McKinley signed that into law on July 7, 1898. The problem is the United States could no more annex Hawaii by passing a law in 1898, which is a country. Then the United States today can pass a law, a joint resolution annexing Canada. It has no effect beyond the borders of the United States. And that goes to what is called sovereignty and independence, right? So because the Hawaiian Kingdom still had sovereignty, even though its government was overthrown, the only way that you could have acquired the Hawaiian Kingdom, you need a treaty. We don't have a treaty.
And we never did. It was never concocted. Like, they just totally skipped over all of that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And that was intentional.
Oh, yeah. Now, what's mind-blowing is that members of Congress and the Senate, in the minutes that are taking place in the debates that are going on the so-called Joint Resolution of Annexation, Senator Pettigrew came up, flat out said, you cannot annex a foreign country by passing a law. You need a treaty. Our laws have no effect beyond our borders. So they all understood it. And then one said, well, we'll deal with it later because this is a military necessity because we're fighting the Spanish. And the Spanish were not only in the Caribbean, Puerto Rico and Cuba, they're also in the Pacific, Guam and the Philippines. And the U.S. Navy was using Hawaii as a naval port to recall their ships on the way to the Philippines for the war. Through all of that, it's just an American law limited to U.S. territory, right? So Hawaii was not annexed. Now, 2 years later, United States Congress passes a law changing the name of the government of the Hawaiian Kingdom to the territory of Hawaii. Still an American law passed by Congress. Then in 1921, Hawaiian Homes Act was enacted by Congress as a part of the Organic Act of 1900. Still an American law. And here they identify Native Hawaiians through blood quantum for the first time. First time. You got to be 50%.
And blood quantum was never a thing back then.
No, that's an American creation. And then in 1959, the Statehood Act. United States Congress changed the name of the territory into the state of Hawaii. The problem is, the common thread, they're all American laws. And the Hawaiian Kingdom still has its sovereignty. So in the early 1900s, they began a policy of denationalization, meaning destroying the national consciousness of the Hawaiian Kingdom in the minds of school children. And that was a formal policy that came about in 1906, right? That's my tutu's generation. And all she was taught was American history and speak English.